10 new super hot sizzling singles.
It's gonna be a sexy summer, man.
Usually what I look for in a guy is just like a one-night hangout.
Lana, play Hot Girl Summer. Welcome back to None of the Above. Everyone's favorite dating show is back. Well, should say no dating show is back. You know that show where you build deep connections but no kissing, no heavy petting, no sex? Too Hot to Handle officially back for season 2. And if you haven't watched it yet or seen the trailer, we get things like this, a cockroach that landed right on Chase's forehead. I got to admit, sorry. Well, first of all, I watched every episode of the season, but I also need to say Chase kind of disappointed me a little bit. He's a pro football player. I had high hopes as the show went along. Come on, Chase. Others on the show are surfing up some serious side-eye. There were lots of rule breaks, a fair bit of cringe from time to time in the mix from some people there, all under the watchful eye of a talking, sometimes very judgmental Cone. The show is so good. Here to talk about season 2 of Too Hot to Handle and maybe spill a little bit of tea in the process, one of the contestants from the show, Melinda Berry. Melinda, what a pleasure it has to have you. Like I just said to our audience a few moments ago, I watched every episode, immediately went to our producers and I said, I think Melinda lives in New York. If she's willing or able to join us, that would be amazing. Yeah. So we do have some questions that fans submitted, and we'll get to those in just a second. So obviously, it's a very deeply personal show and very vulnerable for the contestants. So any of these questions that I ask you, to any degree you're comfortable answering, totally cool. If you're not, I would absolutely understand that. I think our submitted questions would as well. When you finish the show, have to go here. You and Marvin really seem to be, together, boyfriend, girlfriend. Obviously, Marvin was the big winner here for season 2. At this point, we're going full on spoilers. Can you give me your sense what happened after the show, Melinda?
Well, pretty much after the show, Marvin and I stopped talking. Why? I don't know. But it seemed as though distance played a factor along with quarantine and travel ban. So it was hard for me to go to Paris. It was hard for him to come to New York. So it just didn't work out, even though I tried to make it work.
Absolutely. Give me your sense on timing, because I don't think those of us who watch the show get it. We've been watching it this summer. And I know you were doing it kind of during the era of COVID, if I'm not mistaken, in Turks and Caicos. When did you actually produce the show?
So we had to quarantine early November. I was in Turks and Caicos at November 14th, and we got to set, if I'm not correct, towards November 28th, and we were done by December 19th, 18th. I'm not sure.
Wow.
But it's about that time.
Gotcha. And then they do all the months of kind of post-editing and production and development, and then it gets hyped up, and millions of us have watched it. I've loved it so much. Okay, I do have to ask, and a lot of people have said this, we all remember Peter from the show, and particularly some key moments with Peter kind of early on, which were very funny at times. He's really seems like a great guy. And a lot of people have really noticed here, Melinda, that in your TikToks and other content, but they say, wait a minute, does Peter also live in New York? They seem to be together. Can you give us a sense on what the relationship looks like with you and Peter? Because I think a lot of people have been kind of surprised to see, oh, wow, Peter seems like he's in the picture here.
Peter is definitely in the picture. He lives about 25 minutes away from me, so of course he's in the picture. I see Peter almost every day.
Wow.
We hang out a lot. I've met his family. I feel like I'm a part of the family. Everyone is so welcoming, and they're so nice. And of course, I love me some Peter. So yeah.
Well, I mean, and
Sorry,
people will
Lana.
remember that when we talk about rule breaks, that there was a Melinda Peter thing, and that was one of the early things. And I remember the reaction from the other guys on the show were kind of like, "Really, Peter? Wait, what?
Yes.
Who of all people
Absolutely.
there?" But yeah, absolutely. But he's a great guy, and I know he was not on the show for the entire run. So please send Peter my best there as well. I want to ask you about Lana, because I think we just see this talking cone or whatever. Give me your sense on what does the production behind Lana actually look like? Is there someone kind of doing the voice that you kind of see? Or was your full interaction with this talking cone just this talking judgmental cone?
So we don't quite see what goes on behind the scenes with Lana. All we see is us sitting there and Lana is speaking to us. Like there were times where I was in the dressing room and I would be by myself and I would talk to Lana and hope she would respond back to me. And within 5 minutes, she goes, "Oh, hello, Melinda." I'm like, "Oh my God, wait, you actually hear me?" And we have a whole conversation. We would chat. I would ask her for advice. Oh, Lana and I, we are girls. We are like this now.
That's awesome. I do have a few fan-submitted questions because I'm clear. Obviously, I'm not the only person who like sat on the edge of my couch watching every single one of these episodes. Okay, so here's one that actually has to do with Lana. I thought was really interesting. Melinda, did Lana ever miss you breaking any rules?
Lana, cover your cone, because I'm about to spill some tea. Lana, I have broken a few rules that has passed your eyes or your camera that I have gotten away with. Yes.
Wow.
Peter.
And would you? I don't want to put you on the spot to rat at any of your friends, but were you the only one who may have gotten away with a few things that Lana may have missed?
No. A few
Fair
others
enough.
got away with some things.
I'm sure. And now let's talk about some of those others because we all grew to know them and love them on the show. You still talk with your former, I don't know what you call each other, castmates, colleagues there in Turks and Caicos because the relationship was, like, really seems like you all really got along. So to what degree do you still see or hang out with people?
So I just came back from LA with Peter, Carly, Joey, and Nathan. We just spent 5 days in LA together, and it was the most beautiful thing ever. Like, I haven't seen Joey, Carly, and Nathan since filming. So to be back in LA and see everyone was so nice.
Absolutely. That's really cool. Here's another fan question. I like this one. What is your favorite moment from the show, Melinda, that we did not see? And have you watched the show, by the way? Did you go back and watch the whole season after it was produced?
Yes. I watched the whole thing twice.
Okay, cool. Anything, what was your favorite that maybe didn't make the cut?
My favorite was when Peter and I had some alone time, and we spent about an hour taking pictures and him teaching me how to do TikToks. It was so nice.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, so there's a little bit of like bonding there with you and Peter that we didn't see. That's interesting. Yes, because I remember Peter showing up saying he's a TikTok influencer. No comment. Okay, plead the fifth. That is allowed on the show, absolutely. What was your favorite thing to do on the retreat during your free time? Someone asks.
Oh, my favorite thing was to just have alone time with Peter and chat with him a lot. Because during the show, we were all busy doing our own thing, our own little segment. So it was quite hard to kind of like have alone time. But during downtime, I got to sit with Peter and talk to him and actually really get to know him. And it kind of sucked that wasn't put in the show, but it's okay. I get to see Peter every day now.
Absolutely. Well, so that really helps, I think, demystify it for people who's like, wait, what? Peter's what? Back in the so now that kind of makes sense. And maybe there were a few things on the cutting room floor, but I got nothing but love for Peter. Some of my favorite scenes, Melinda, as the season goes along, are really vulnerable. The women kind of go off and do their own kind of communication workshop. The men go off and do their own communication workshop, and I really like seeing that from all of you to say. You know, I think for especially a lot of the men to say, hey, you know, I've botched up things in my previous relationships. I need to be better. The women had their own kind of similar moments as well. Yeah. How do you think that the time on Too Hot to Handle, has this changed you at all, either in your journey dating people or your career as a model or anything like that? Have you been changed because of the experience?
Oh, 100%. Going on Too Hot to Handle, I didn't realize how much inner change I needed. Because I went in there like this girl who was not going to follow any rules, going to do whatever I want and not care. But after the show and leaving, I realized that I needed a lot of changing to do. I don't drink anymore at all. I do not go to bars as first dates. I'd rather go for a walk in the park and actually get to know somebody. And I kind of calmed down on talking to multiple guys.
Wow. Yes. Okay, thank you for that. I really appreciate the candid nature by which you're willing to answer these questions. One more. On your TikTok, your bio says, they told me I was too short to be a runway model, so I created my own. Final question for you. Can you give us some advice for anyone out there who's ever been told you can't do this or the world's not made for you? What do you want them to know?
Hello, fellow queens. This is what you should know. You can do whatever it is you put your mind into. Do not let one no discourage those 20 yeses waiting for you at the door. If you want to do something, do it. Be confident, hold your head high, and smile, and bow with grace, because you are the baddest to ever do it.
Melinda Berry, star of Too Hot to Handle. Thank you for being here. I was sincerely such a big fan. I wish you the best of luck. Please give Peter our best, since you're a part of the family there. We're a big fan of his as well. And hello to everyone else, Carly and the crew, the next time you see them. It's really good to have you on the show tonight. Thanks, Melinda. Coming up tonight, we are walking you